I think your interest in technology was largely driven by your accident. So maybe you could start by telling us how you ended up in a wheelchair and how you changed your view of farming after that.
Yeah, well, back in 2008, in September, we were mustering a pocket of land that we hadn't mustered before. Not that it had anything to do with it, but everything was going to plan, you know, and at about 10:30, I'd got out of my gyrocopter, which I used to muster cattle, and I helped my brother hang a Hessian wing on the yards. And at that time, one of the helicopters came back to refuel, and we decided that I'd jump in and just show him where I'd been working and where, you know, the general direction of where we wanted things to end up. And unfortunately, 20 minutes later, we were upside down, you know, basically in an area that we couldn't get any rescue teams into by the ground. So it became a 7-hour wait. And after I was airlifted out of the scrub, we went down to Adelaide, which we were down there for 12 months. 3 months was in intensive care, learning to, you know, breathe and learning to speak and all these things. So basically, since I broke my neck, everything's been a learning curve, you know, and you're looking at a caveman. I was an absolute dinosaur when it came to technology prior to my injury. I don't remember ever sending an email. I certainly didn't have a flash phone. Facebook was brand new. You know, touch screens weren't around. And, you know, now it's quite bizarre because I've got a touch phone that I can't touch. But basically, you know, when I got out of rehab and I went back to Alice Springs, I hit a crossroad where I either had to, you know, sit in the corner of agriculture or get right out of it, or, you know, invest heavily into it. And so rather than getting away from something that I love and am extremely passionate about, we invested into it. And some of the things we found through technology were just incredible. And I think, you know, to producers that are out there, you know, a lot of the time, even things like the nils tag, which for the city folk is basically a barcode to the identification of a cow, you know, that was always an expense. And now it's become, you know, such an investment because of the information we can gather throughout the life of our animal, and then therefore it tells us whether we're in the right direction or whether we need to change something. And, you know, even going back to some really old basic technology, I had never worked cattle with working dogs before, but it was something that I can still whistle, I can still talk, you know, so those two things is all I needed to get a team of working dogs together. And it's just incredible, you know, what I can go and do in my wheelchair with me dogs, shifting cattle from paddock to paddock. So technology doesn't have to be this hi-fi thing. It can be, you know, ancient, such as working dogs. Outside of that, at the moment, we've set up an electric over hydraulic joystick that we made ourselves because we couldn't, you know, find any companies that were interested in taking on such a unique task of helping a C4 quadriplegic work in the cattle yard. So we had to reinvent the wheel, I guess, and, you know, it's just incredible what we've got at home now with telemetry and remote livestock management systems. And, you know, essentially I can operate a lot of my farm from a wheelchair without, you know, the help of anybody else.
And if you can do it, everyone can.